minds in television or the animation industry are as strange as Justin Roiland. You know him as the man who co-created Rick and Morty, one of the best shows on TV right now. However, when you dive into Justin Roiland's past, you find a rich history of ambition, drive, and creativity. I know maybe looking at this man, it may seem like I'm being a little gracious, but trust me, once I get into it all, you'll agree. Today's episode of Greenlit is all about Justin Roiland, the wacky, zany, and sometimes a little strange man behind Rick and Morty. Let's dive right in. Roiland grew up in Manteca, California, a small little town right in the middle of California. From the looks of it, not much is going on there. Oh, wait, I stand corrected. There are so many bingo nights going on. This place must be totally hopping, sheesh. Not too much is known about Justin's early life, but one can only assume there was a lot of silly voices involved. I mean, that's just a given. Eventually, in the bright, hopeful year of 2004, Justin moved to the hopping, happening town of Los Angeles, where he would begin his journey to being one of the funniest guys on television. It all started with a little project called Channel 101, but for that we need to take a step back. Dan Harmon is an episode all to himself, but let's talk about him for a second. 2002, Dan and his friend Rob Schraub started this little film festival called Channel 101. The way it worked was actually pretty brilliant. Contestants would make a 5-minute short, or show essentially. Then people would watch them and vote on what shows they wanted to return. Those shows would show up again at next month's screening. The other shows would be canceled and never returned again. This festival started out as a fun little get-together with friends, but quickly grew into something way bigger. Hundreds of people were showing up, and it was gaining traction by the minute. That's where Justin comes in. As a young creator just starting out, Channel 101 was the perfect opportunity for Justin. He met Dan, and that's where things took off for him. Channel 101 was a catalyst for him to make whatever weird stuff he wanted to, just to plain create. And that's what led to all of the amazing weird shorts that he made. Just take one look at Channel 101's website, and you'll see all of the insane amount of shows Justin ended up making or working on. Whoa, 2 Girls, 1 Cup, the series? What is this?
Hey, my name is Cup. I live in Sherman Oaks with 2 wonderful girls, Alyssa and Sarah. They're sweethearts. I couldn't ask for better roommates. But I have a secret. Every time I look at these 2 girls, all I can think about is them taking shit inside of me, then drinking the swishing it around in their mouths, and throwing it up all over each other. I'd be devastated if they found out, but that's not enough to keep me from trying. This is 2 Girls and 1 Cup, the show on PBS Kids.
Oh, yep, okay, that exists. Moving on. Another short he made that really stands out is called Goo Gaws. In this movie, Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon, along with a few others, all play siblings who inherit their parents' house when they died. They found a creepy board that they probably shouldn't read out loud, but then...
Ominous.
I don't think you should read it out loud, because...
Dominus.
Justin, don't read that.
Don't keep reading that.
Please,
It's got a fucking pentagram on it.
For the love of God,
stop reading!
They summon the Goo Gaws, these little blue things that attempt to kill everyone in a brutal Gremlins-esque way. The whole thing is just a hilarious parody of movie tropes. Every few seconds, a character would make a reference to a movie, but then they'd argue over what movie the situation was actually like, and the whole thing is meta and just perfect. Eventually, the remaining surviving siblings realize that they have to watch all the movies they haven't seen, so the references could bring them together instead of tear them apart. Truly beautiful. With their newfound togetherness, Justin and Dan burst in the house and take down the Goo Gaws once and for all, defeating them and saving the day. One more ends up coming out of their dead brother, but he turns out to be nice. This is a really wild ride from start to finish. It was super self-aware and over-the-top stupid, but in the best way possible. I could just hear Justin Roiland ramble hilariously for hours on end.
What the hell are these crazy Goo Gaws? Right? That's what we're gonna call them?
Goo Gaws may not have been renewed for more episodes, but Roiland had a few shorts for Channel 101 that did. Oh, and they are a little bit more crazy. See, a lot of them were live action, but Justin actually had a couple of cartoons. One of the weirdest and most memorable of these is called House of Cosby's, and if you think you understand the concept of the show just by the title, you have no idea what you're getting into. See, this guy who's a super fan of Bill Cosby steals one of his hairs and spends his entire life constructing a cloning machine just so he can create his very own Bill Cosby. However, he becomes addicted to it and begins cloning more and more Cosbys. And each Cosby he makes is getting worse and worse. Okay, right off the bat, I'm gonna acknowledge that this show did not age well at all. But for the sake of the awkwardness, let's just pretend that it's still 2005 when this was first made. So basically, this guy is cloning Cosbys like crazy, like some sort of comedian-obsessed madman. Every Cosby he makes has a certain trait. There's Bath Cosby, Curiosity Cosby, and so on. But when the Cosbys start getting more and more stupid, he realizes that maybe he should stop. But then Curiosity Cosby breaks into the basement and ends up cloning one more, the 10th Cosby, a Super Cosby. He reveals that every 10th Cosby he creates will be a Super Cosby like him and have the power to end world hunger and save the world. But that means that he has to keep making Cosbys in order to make the Super Cosbys. Okay, I'm sorry if I've lost you. I've said the word Cosby like 1,000 times, but I promise this makes sense if you watch it, kind of. Now there's 3 episodes of the show and it just keeps getting crazier. The fact that Roiland took a concept like a guy cloning Bill Cosby and gave it an actually legitimately interesting plot is pretty amazing. And he ended up making 3 episodes of the show with a developing plot. Like they got a Cosby compound and a whole Cosby creating system down. It gets super in depth, you will not believe it. Just when you thought you've seen it all, one Cosby comes out as a woman and yep, he gets her pregnant. Oh boy, I need a new job, I can't deal with this. The most interesting episode, though, is the 3rd one. See, in this episode, they find alien technology that they plug into their television that lets them look at TV in every conceivable universe. Wait, that sounds a little familiar. It's the exact same concept that was used later in 60 Minutes in Interdimensional TV 2. Interesting to see how many things in Roiland's earlier cartoons reflect in Rick and Morty. It clearly shows the journey he took and how he got where he is. But it actually gets crazier. Some think Rick and Morty was the first animated collaborative project between Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon, but that's actually not true. Before we got a taste of the crazy Smith family, there was another little show called Mr. Sprinkles. But before we get into Mr. Sprinkles, let's take a step back for a second. So Channel 1 became a massive hit in Los Angeles, and it really took off. But like all good underground things, Big Bad Mr. Business had to put his hands all over it. See, the TV network VH1 caught on to Channel 101 and its success, and wanted to take it to the small screen. The result was Acceptable TV, the same concept where every week shorts were shown and fans voted online on the ones they wanted to see come back. It was an entire program of fan-voted content, which was the perfect platform for Justin to really shine through. He teamed up with Dan Harmon, who actually co-created Acceptable TV, fun fact, to create the 8-episode animation epic that is Mr. Sprinkles. This show centered on a simple concept. What would a cat-in-the-hat-like imaginary creature do in this modern-day world? Well, the answer is completely fail in a hilarious way. Mr. Sprinkles' only goal in life is to make children happy and have fun on rainy days. However, the modern society sees Sprinkles as a creep and shoots him if they see him around his kids. The show starts as a funny concept and takes a turn for the way darker and serious. I don't want to spoil the series by telling you everything that happens in the show. It's better if you watch all the episodes yourself on Roiland TV or YouTube. It's amazing from start to finish, I promise. The show seems like it could be stupid, but I swear by episode 3, I legitimately could not stop watching. It had me hooked. It's surprising how well written it is for a show with a crazy concept. The marriage of crazy concepts and realistic storytelling and writing is what a Harmon and Roiland collaboration truly is. And you can definitely see that represented in Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty. Crazy to think that the entire thing started out with a cease and desist letter. Wait, did I get into that? I should probably mention that. House of Cosby's lasted for about 3 episodes. That's when Roiland actually got a cease and desist letter from Bill Cosby's lawyers, and they told him to end the show. Roiland was mad and retaliated in the only way he knew how. He decided that he would sort of troll the big studios by making the most inappropriate and blatant ripoff of one of their properties that he could. The result was the Real Animated Adventures of Doc and Marty, an outrageously dirty parody of the Back to the Future franchise. Justin Roiland said, "I actually made this as a way to poke fun at the idea of getting cease and desist letters. At the time, October 2006, I had nothing to lose, and my original intention was to call this Back to the Future, the new official Universal Studios cartoon featuring the new Doc Brown and Marty McFly. Then I just sit back and wait for a letter from the lawyers to arrive. That's actually why it's so filthy. I was just looking to troll a big studio." Then, as I began editing the radio play and boarding it, the 2 characters ended up becoming something different than just a bad impression of Doc and Marty from Back to the Future. They slowly became 2 of my favorite characters that I've ever voiced. I backed down from the cease and desist bait and changed the spelling of the characters' names and whatever else I could still change. I mean, it's still ultimately a Back to the Future joke/parody, but to me, all these years later, these 2 characters have become something of their own. So you're probably wondering at this point, what exactly happens in this cartoon? What makes it so bad? Well, I'll do my best to explain. Basically, Doc and Marty have problems, and the problems are solved by Marty licking the doctor's balls. It's a little more than graphic. Let's just say nothing censored. And it's really funny, but it's also very inappropriate. I mean, yeah, I don't want to describe exactly what happens word for word. You can watch it if you want to. It's pretty bad. It's funny, but it's bad. If you're really that curious, you can check it out on RoilandTV.com, go see for yourself. I mean, I recommend it if you're old enough. At the end of the day, though, the short was pretty amazing. I mean, he was just trying to make a joke to mess with Universal, but he ended up finding 2 voices he fell in love with. And yeah, he does love those voices, as you can see the Doc and Marty voices in so many places throughout Justin's work. Some are extremely obvious, some not.
Hello there, I'm Poopy Butthole Pooerson. You can call me Dirty Wet Poopy Poopy Sloppy Pooer Hole. That's what my friends call me.
Eventually, they would end up in his magnum opus, Rick and Morty, but that's a little further down the road. Acceptable TV sadly didn't make it past its first season. It got canceled and everyone moved on. What was next for Justin? The answer was voice acting. Justin got his first big voice acting break in 2010 on this new cartoon called Fish Hooks. Remember that show? It was pretty good. That's where I first heard Justin's voice as a kid. For a while, I just knew him as the voice of Oscar, which is the character he played. He's certainly branched out from there now. From there, he branched off to other television show voice acting. Many people recognize him as Earl Lemongrab, the crazy lemon guy from Adventure Time. Lemongrab quickly became a fan-favorite character, and more people began recognizing the crazy voice of Justin Roiland. He got yet another popular role on the show Gravity Falls, made by Alex Hirsch, who's actually good friends with Justin in real life, fun fact. He played the time traveler Blyndon Blandon, who had a reoccurring role in the show up until the end. So Justin was making it work in the voice acting world, with his recognizable voice and common fan-favorite roles. All the while, Justin was trying his hardest to land a TV show. He pitched everywhere, one of his pilots actually being for Adult Swim. It was called Dog World, a show about a boy and his siblings accidentally being transported to a world where dogs run the world. This was actually referenced in Rick and Morty.
Wow, a whole world populated by intelligent dogs.
The whole time he kept trying to get his zany style and crazy voices on television. Failed pitch after failed pitch. That's when Dan Harmon fell in the picture. Dan had just gotten off the whole downfall of Community ordeal and was looking for his next project. That's when he got a call by Adult Swim. They wanted Harmon to pitch them a pilot, anything he wanted. Harmon knew he didn't want to do it alone, and called the person he thought would be perfect for the show, Justin Roiland. He told Justin he wanted the show to be about what made him excited. That's when Justin mentioned his crazy Doc and Marty voices he always did. They by now have become a small inside joke between him and his friends. Harmon loved it and began developing it. They ditched the Back to the Future parody concept completely, and kept the 2 characters as only loose figments of who they were based off of, changing them to Rick and Morty instead of Doc and Marty. Finally, Justin could get his crazy comedy style on TV, and Dan Harmon's understanding of realistic family dynamics and television writing kept things grounded enough to not overwhelm the viewers. It was the perfect combination. Without Harmon on the team, it could be as crazy as the Doc and Marty cartoon, and without Roiland, it wouldn't have the same comedic charm. As you know, Rick and Morty was a hit, and with 2 seasons under its belt, a 3rd on the way, and a massive fan base, it's safe to say that Justin had made it. Not to be outdone, however, Justin started a gaming company, naming it Squanch Tendo. Oh man, that's perfect. They specialize in VR and so far have made Office Simulator a trippy game that you just have to experience to understand. They also made the Rick and Morty VR game, which is just as good as the show. With the help of these games, the company is only growing. Justin Roiland makes things. He doesn't let anything stop him. Even back in the Channel 101 days, he created skits and cartoons with the same crazy style of humor he uses today. Always hilarious and sometimes shockingly deep, Roiland's work stands out from others in every single way. And it's safe to say, the rest is history. Thanks for watching this episode of Greenlit, guys. Hopefully you liked it. I'm trying to make this a whole series, so let me know what you think down below. I'm Shane, aka Retro Nemo from the Round Table, and I'll see you guys next time.
This video has been powered by Patreon. If you want to give us some more support, head to patreon.com/roundtablevids, become a patron, and get some awesome perks. Thanks for watching another video on the Roundtable. If you want to get more involved in our community and watch videos from Let's Talk with Tom, Voxbox, and more, click the video right here. Or if you want to get some more of the animation goodness, watch some Crystal Clear or Meaning Monday, click the video right here. And please, don't forget to subscribe.